Hello everyone, my name is Zeotrex, and today we're taking a look at Captain America Brave New World, the fourth film of the Captain America franchise in the MCU. Following the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam Wilson is now officially Captain America, and tension breaks out between countries as they try racing to grab a new metal, adamantium, from that Celestial that was in Eternals. Meanwhile, they try figuring out who is plotting against Thunderbolt Ross, the new President of the United States. So, Captain America. It was like one of the the only trilogy. No, second only trilogy in the MCU to just be straight and to be like flawless. Iron Man. I wasn't too big on Iron Man 2 and 3. I like Tom Holland's Spider Man, but they're not like flawless films. Guardians of the Galaxy is great, but Captain America, I'd say was truly something phenomenal. Those movies were great. I love Steve Rogers as a character. He had such a great arc. However, when it came to this one, I really wasn't so sure about whether or not I was excited. It's a new Captain America. It's Sam Wilson. That kind of did play a part into it. Kind of played a part into my suspicions. I wasn't used to that, but it was more so just like the behind the scenes drama, a lot of reshoots, a lot of re-editing, the inclusion of a character that added a lot of controversy to this movie. We'll talk about her later. I have some words to say. And the MCU is on this like constant like path of like we're back, it's over. We're back, it's over. And I wouldn't say that this is the it's over film right here. I'd say this is more so just another kind of mediocre, not mediocre, but not really remarkable MCU movie. It's the weakest in the Captain America series. I'd rank it like at the bottom. But I mean, it's not really that bad of a movie. I think a lot of people are overreacting when it comes to it. the the MCU has had a lot worse than this. And like things like it having a worse score than Quantumania, I disagree with. I don't think that um I don't think that it's deserving of something like that, for example. Um it's not unwatchable. It's a fine movie. It's a Marvel movie. It's what you'd expect from an MCU movie. It plays things a bit safe. Things are underwhelming, a lot of wasted potential. But let's get into this. So, the biggest thing that this movie has to deal with is the new Captain America. This is the first movie to not have Steve Rogers, but instead Sam Wilson as Captain America. And this might get a bit political here. I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, it's Captain America, and the movie does deal with politics, but like there are fictional kind of politics in this movie. They're not really like Thunderbolt Ross isn't sitting there talking about the assassination of the healthcare CEO and all that. The movie's politics are fictional, dealing with like fictional events. Um, Steve Rogers is possibly dead. He's somewhere. I think there might be the door for him to come back, but to the public eye, he's dead. He died in battle, and this is a lot of pretty controversial thing for the MCU. And trust me here, I'm not gonna go into like, oh, a Black Captain America that's woke. I think that's a stupid argument, but it is also like I don't want to say a big risk, but it is like a big factor on how people could go into this. It's like it's controversial, but only to like certain people. People who don't shave their beards and sell fentanyl as kids, or people who who don't want to take their girlfriends to Disneyland because they have that much of a hate boner for Disney. Guys who cry about screws and bricks and Star Wars and use AI to generate their fan films and all that. Guys who drink. I didn't know what else to really make fun of him for that. That was just You get the point. It's those people who um are gonna cry about it. They never cared, and you see, Captain America is sort of like an Uncle Sam like figure if he was a superhero, kind of like the representation of what America is, but not fully. What made Steve Rogers so special and unique was that he was the epitome of like the American dream, the American man, white, blonde, blue eyes, big and muscular, but he went against a lot of what like America was. He wasn't he went he subverted expectations. That's the best way I can put it there. And I think that's why Sam Wilson is important, because you got to think about Captain America existence at the time that he was, created with the super serum. It was 1940s. America was a different time back then, and with America now, Black Captain America is great. Honestly, I think Sam Wilson. Yeah, sorry. Um, I just I think Sam Wilson is a great Captain America. This movie does a good job at presenting Sam Wilson as Captain America, and it never needs to prove that he's Captain America. The movie is just, yeah, he's Captain America. He has the shield. He's Captain America. And there are scenes where he's talking about, like, I'm not really sure if I could live up to like what Steve did, and kind of talking about him taking the super serum, because that's a thing he doesn't. This is a Cap who doesn't have the serum, but um, that was what the show was mostly for. Was kind of being like, yeah, this is a Black Captain America, and this is how him accepting the shield, and um, the thing is, I just didn't like the show. So a little kind of mini review of that. It had weird morals, honestly. It tries making a sympathetic villain in Carly, but she's not a sympathetic villain. She's a huge piece of shit. And because of that, it fails tremendously. Sam defends her actions, which rubs me the wrong way. A lot of the show was honestly bland and forgettable. And I wanted to like it. I really did. But I just hated it so much. They didn't do the best at showing why John Walker should be a bad guy, and I hated how they treated Bucky's arc in this film. That always bugged me, how they just threw it to the side right when it was going to get revealed. And I'm, I'm, back then, my main issue was the fact they kept bringing up the fact that Sam was black, and that it was like, that was one of my issues. But now my issue is that it just didn't handle it well. Because in theory, I do think tackling on the subject of a black man being Captain America now is interesting. Is actually a pretty good story to tell there. It's just Falcon and the Winter Soldier didn't do a good job at telling it. It was very blunt in its messaging. It's like, I'm a black guy with a shield. Look at me, I'm a black guy. I'm a black guy, yeah. That's the best way I could describe it. And again, I'm not one of those grifters who cries about women in my TV show. No, it's just I didn't like the way that it was handled there. Whereas other examples have done that kind of story better. You know, um, the movie feels like a better version of the show, which is good. Now, again, this movie isn't really perfect. They used this film as a way to just solve whatever they just didn't know what to solve in the MCU. Such as Leader. I'll get to him more, but Leader is finally back in the MCU. He was set up all the way in fucking 2008. The second MCU film, The Incredible Hulk. And they also bring back Tiamat from Eternals, finally solving the conflict of having this celestial being in the ocean. By the way, I love how they shoot the celestial here. So adamantium, which is the metal that Wolverine has, so in this film, that's where they get that is where they get the what was I gonna say? Uh, that's where they get the medal. They get it off the Celestial, and there's this scene where they're going to the Celestial, and the way they shoot it. My point here is, I'm excited to see how they're gonna do Galactus because, like, oh boy, they show how big that thing is. I imagine Eternals did a better job at it, but I haven't seen that movie. Now, Harrison Ford joins the MCU here as Thunderbolt Ross, replacing William Hurt after he unfortunately passed away. And it was a bit hard getting used to the recast of Harrison Ford. But I think they do the most with Ross here since, he's the president. Incredible Hulk was sort of a forgettable movie, and Ross was just kind of there in the later films. But it's great to see him do more stuff here, and he is great in this film, and most of it is because of Harrison Ford's acting. I really thought this was just gonna. I went going kind of seeing everything. I thought Harrison Ford was just gonna snooze his way through the film, like, we must get the automation. Like, I thought that was gonna be his like entire performance. No, he does. He does a great job, and man, because like it's a joke that we like think Harrison Ford's like this grumpy old guy who just hates this kind of stuff because of how he is with Star Wars, and I do think he does care about this role. I definitely do think he cares about the role. And this guy's fucking 83 and killing it. However, this also does bring up kind of a few things here. One, T'Challa. Let's talk about T'Challa real quick. It could work, right? Recasting T'Challa could have worked perfectly. And I know this is a topic that's been like, in the ground for a few years now. That it's like, okay, whatever. They're not gonna recast T'Challa. He's just gonna stay the same. He's gonna be dead in the MCU because they didn't want to recast him. But it could have worked. I mean, again, I said that it got a bit hard getting used to Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross here. Mainly just cause I don't remember much of Ross in the MCU that much, and so I'd have to go back and rewatch like whatever he does and compare the two. They try doing some things in this movie that try like convincing you that yeah, it's always been Harrison Ford, like editing him, like giving him the mustache, and like de-aging him to be younger. And I think Harrison Ford is a great is a great choice for this. However, the guy is 83, and that. I mean, he's probably really healthy and all that, but it makes me worried. Just in a few years that maybe they might need to recast him again, or they might kill the character off before then, or just whatever. Either way, Harrison Ford was great, and the leader. Let's talk about the leader. He was an alright. He was an alright villain in this movie. Now, comparing him to others, he's not the best. He was alright. Now, his design, let's give some slight spoilers here. I think it could have been better. He was so a lot of promotional material. This is kind of the reshoot like aspect of it. A lot of the promotional material had his head lot bigger and with the beard, literally looking like the leader from the comics. And then when they reshot it, they just kind of give him this like morphine like just embrace the comic books, man. If you didn't want to have this goofy, big-brained guy in your movie that was like a lot more serious and grounded, dog, then you shouldn't have put him in this movie. That's like my issue with the Nolan trilogy, for example. Like you did like well, Bane, he's too unrealistic with the Venom and all that. Don't do Bane then. Just choose a different villain. Choose Deathstroke or someone. You know, like I like Nolan. I like that version of Bane, but it's missing crucial parts of Bane. And I would know. Look back there. I love Batman. That's off topic. And like I think the mutated head could have worked for leader. Only if they made it bigger. Only if they made it bigger because he's literally like that's his main thing. It's sadly it's one of those cases where like you have a smart character but not a smart writer. So he just kind of sits there and talks about possibilities the entire film. And also the quality of the film dips a lot whenever he's on screen. And I think that is because of I think that is because let me get a drink real quick. And I think that is because they redid a lot of stuff with the reshoots and all that. His presence wasn't really in the marketing. So, like, you kind of forget he's supposed to be in this movie when you go see it. But he does have a presence throughout the film, which I do like. I do like that they kept him kind of a secret. It's just weird to bring him back, though, especially the Captain America movie. I think I'll get into that in a little bit. Let's talk about Red Hulk. So, I think they should have probably have had him hidden from the trailers because it kind of builds up a lot of hype only to just have him at the end. And he's not the best looking CGI wise. There's a few moments where he's iffy. I do really like this design though for him. Just Red Hulk, black hair, black pants, and I do like that final battle with him because it gives us Hulk action that we've been missing from the MCU for quite a long while. God, how long ago was 2019? Long time. Um, but it gives us this Hulk action that we've been really missing, where he's just destroying stuff, he's throwing stuff, and I want, I hope he returns. I want to see Bruce Banner, Mark Ruffalo, go back to being Hulk and beating the shit out of this. I heard rumors that Jennifer Walters and Bruce Banner, there was this thing where like Bruce Banner was supposed to be in this movie, or like Mark Ruffalo like said he was. I don't remember, but yeah, I remember that. This is an Incredible Hulk sequel, just without the Hulk. And that's my main issue with this movie is that it's a Hulk movie, but it's with Captain America, and I genuinely wish that we'd saved the leader and Red Hulk for a Hulk focused movie. Because Universal doesn't have the rights anymore. Marvel can go ahead, but I don't know. They've fucked up a lot of things with Hulk. Didn't like She-Hulk. And they completely they completely fucked up the opportunity to do a good World War Hulk Planet Hulk World War Hulk story where he meets his son like hey, here's my son that I met off screen. Still not like the rage-filled Hulk. Come on, Avengers, get to that. Which is another thing in this movie, by the way, that I do want to talk about more in spoilers. Let's talk about the tone of the movie. I thought it was pretty interesting. It tries to go for a Winter Soldier kind of feeling, and I think it does a better job at doing this tone than Secret Invasion. But Secret Invasion was shit. In the end, Uh, I really didn't feel it as much. Like it's noticeable. Like they don't really do the jokes and all that they would for a normal Marvel movie. But there was just something off about the tone. I don't know. It tried to be a lot more serious. I do think it succeeded, and it's just not on the same level as Winter Soldier, though. I think that's like a lot of the action, for example. Okay, so there's this scene where Sam is ambushed by the Serpent Leader. I think that's who he is. Giancarlo, who great as always. Um, and that scene gave me like Nick Fury assassination attempt vibes, But the way that the action is shot, the way it's edited, it's like punch, cut to a different angle, punch, cut to a different angle. That stupid fucking way of editing movies. Just have your characters fight and keep the camera still. I'm tired of that generic ass action. That's kind of how I could describe this movie. Is more so generic. Whereas Winter Soldier followed that template, but did something phenomenal with it. Here, this is like the stereotype of an action movie. That's the best way to describe it. Um, there was just still a lot to be more desired. And I want. I hope we get to see Sam more as Captain America, though. I liked a lot of the characters. I thought Joaquin, who's the new Falcon, I thought he would have been annoying as hell in the movie. He's not. I did like his relationship with Sam. I like Sam's energy throughout the movie. Again, Thunderbolt Ross is a pretty rounded character. Isaiah was definitely a highlight. For those who don't know, Isaiah was one of the first Captain Americas. Like he's the original Black Captain America. I forgot if he was the Captain America before Steve or after Steve, but they didn't treat him as kindly as they did Steve because of his skin color, and so they locked him away for 30 years, because he went on a mission and all that. And I think they do a great job with his character here. While I don't remember him much in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because again, I don't want to remember that show. I didn't like it, but I felt really bad for Isaiah. He is the guy who plays him. I don't know who plays him. Does a great job with him. I liked all of the characters except one. We're here, Sabra. Let's get this fucking bitch out of the way. Anytime this fucking short pug face cunt got on the screen, I rolled my eyes and let out a loud groan. I'm not even kidding. So they tried removing a lot of the connections to Sabra. And this is where I'm just gonna spoil shit, so I guess just skip ahead a bit. I don't know. She's only called Ruth throughout the movie. Her name is like Ruth Russ, like Sepra or something. But you can take the double D's off of Daredevil, which makes it sound like he's like trans. Happy Pride Month, Matt. But you can take the spider. You could take the spider off of Spider-Man. You could take the A off of who is messaging me. You could take the A off of Captain America, and you could still tell that it's these characters. You could still tell that she's still from Israel, and she has a super suit in this movie. This is Sabra. You can call her Ruth all you want, but in the end, this character was supposed to be Sabra. You could, if you wanted to make all these changes to the character in the end, why even adapt her? So she's Israeli. She's still from Israel. That's the Falcon mentioned that in this movie. She's still from Israel, but they change her origin to being an ex-widow? No, yeah. Let's just leave this poor taste character who was meant for propaganda just in the past. And then they try making her a hero in this movie. She killed a little Palestinian kid in the comics. She tried saving a future Hitler. She's not a good person. She just also adds nothing to the film. I really don't understand why, with all the reshoots and re-edits of this movie, that they couldn't remove her. And my theory here is, because Disney is on that side of Israel a bit, from what I understand, Disney didn't want them to remove it. Like, we cannot remove this Israel character. And I just, she walks in and just ruins the scene. She has this suit with like Israel colors on it. It's never shown. I think it did. Okay, it's never like fully shown off. It's kind of in a jacket, but the way that they advertised it, like she had a McDonald's toy. You want a McDonald's toy that killed a little Palestinian child? I think Sabra should have just been removed. She adds nothing to the movie. She's genuinely so annoying every time she's on screen. Part of it is just because of the character's origins, right? Because you know, it's like Red Skull is not meant to be liked. He's a villain. He's Hydra. He's a Nazi. He's a super racist. Whereas Sabra, fuck Sabra. That's just it. She should have been removed from the movie, and just whenever Sam and Walking are talking, just have a little dinosaur PNG. That would have been much better. I wasn't gonna let the controversy stop me from seeing this movie though. But it's such a horrible decision. Just fuck off, never return to the MCU, and free Palestine. And that's my Sabra rant. A few more things I want to get into before I get into spoilers. I think Giancarlo could have been in it a lot more. He's a great actor, and of course, is the best part of any scenes he in. But he's underused in. I think they added him during reshoots. That's probably it. Um, so that's probably why he was so underused. Maybe it's also a budget thing. He's a pretty big actor. Again, adamantium is introduced in this film, and it's nothing hinting at like X-Men or Wolverine, but it feels like such an afterthought. Like, yeah, adamantium is in this movie. All right, sure. Brave New World is a fine movie. I liked it. I liked a lot of it, and mainly just kind of sat through it and just watched it happen. It has a plot to watch and be interested in. I did like a lot of the characters in this movie, and it does what I wanted the most, and that was cementing Sam's place as the new Captain America. Uh, it just sucks that it's in a film that had a lot of backlash and like controversy around it because of Sabra. I think Brave New World is going to get a C plus, C plus bordering on B. Now let's get into some spoilers real quick. Nothing too nothing too major. I just want to talk about some of my favorite scenes of the film. Where is my handkerchief? You fucking bitch. Give me a minute. Uh, Let me put that up there. All right, cool. So, during the Tiamat fight, which I do think that that is one of the best fight scenes, the aerial combat. Um, he's injured and he has to be in the hospital, and Sam is watching him, unsure of what to do, and Bucky shows up. I really liked that. It was genuinely really unexpected to see Bucky appear, and it's a cameo that makes sense. I do love this scene a lot because it's talking about Steve and how, Sam doesn't really know if he could compete with Steve, but Bucky's like, "Hey, you could Bucky, he's like, you don't need to be Steve. You don't need the super serum. You're Captain America. You're not Steve Rogers." And I just really liked it. I also really liked the like sort of weird little connection to Thunderbolts there. Um, it's like in this scene, he's like, "Okay, I have to go to a meeting in Congress later. So yeah, I have to wrap this conversation up." And I really like that because I didn't watch the trailer before going to the movie. They played it, but Bucky is part of Congress now. That's the thing in Thunderbolts. Um, yeah, Bucky is in Congress. That's the plot of Thunderbolts. And they mention that, and I like that because that's the next MCU movie, Thunderbolts. So I'm curious. It's cool to just have little things like that in the movie to kind of just remind you, hey, yeah, this is a shared universe. Because they set up, like, give me a minute. They set up so many things in the MCU that have not been paid off yet. Even so, yeah. The scene gets ruined at the end though, because Sabra decides to walk in, just beat. The post credits, um, they really did not need to be there. I did not like the post credits. First of all, it's at the very end, so it was a big waste. I don't like credits like that when they're at the very end, and then it just showed nothing. Sam goes to the leader in the raft, and the leader's like, "Oh, you're not the only one. There's multiple worlds out there. The multiverse is real. Oh my god, how did we find out how to put the multiverse in this grounded thriller? Like, what? I just. It's such nothing. It's such nothing credits. And I thought he would do something stupid. Like something stupid like, oh, you're not gonna like it, but there will be doom. Oh, I have the probability that doomsday is upon us. Like, it's cheesy. It's stupid, right? But it would have been something. Oh, you're telling me that the multiverse is real. What is this saga called? Another little weird thing I want to point out. This one didn't have a Marvel logo. You know how like each movie like starts off with the dun da 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 da, and it's like the comic book pages flipping, and then um we see the characters in the MCU. You know, they do specialized ones like turn it green or have a Chadwick version or you know horrified and you know you know this one didn't have it for some reason. Weird. Not a big deal, but I wonder if they're gonna change it soon or they're just gonna get rid of it. That makes me wonder. So yeah, not much else to say. Hope you guys are liking the new webcam here. And the next review should be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Loving that show so far. And until then, God bless America.